Back in 2018, we purchased the 4-unit property. This was really a phenomenal deal. We purchased this property with tenants in place, performing asset, with a clear certificate of occupancy for all the units, true turnkey property. It was really a great deal. And now, what makes that deal even better is it's been almost 8 years and all the same tenants are still in the property, paying rent, paying rent, paying rent. Well, something changed on March 1st of this year. What happened on March 1st was one of the tenants, obviously who's been there since day one, all of a sudden, they only have $100 towards the rent. Now what? What do I do? Right? Now we have a situation over there. What do? Do I just wait for rent and hopefully she pays it? Do I give her a little bit more time? Do I call her up and have a conversation? So in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what I did and what happened next. So a little bit of context on this particular tenant. Again, we didn't find the tenant. We didn't choose them. We didn't vet them out. She came with the property along with all the other tenants. And quick story about how I got this deal. It was actually a friend of mine had it under contract to purchase it. And he actually had owner financing negotiated. He was going to buy it. And he got cold feet at the last minute. He got cold feet and he decided not to buy it. So, because he was, and he knows that I know that market. So he's having a conversation. He's having a chat with Chatto, so to speak. And he's telling me, you know, well, I'm not sure that these tenants are actually paying, and I'm not sure of this, and I'm not sure of that, and I'm worried about this, and I'm worried about that. I'm like, okay. So I supported him the best I can. I told him to buy the property, and long story short is he tells me, yeah, you know what, I'm going to back out. I said, whoa, stop right there. You're going to back out? He's like, yeah. I'm like, can I buy it? He's like, yeah, sure, I don't care. I'm like, cool. So as soon as he sent the cancellation over to the real estate agent, I'm on the phone with the real estate agent. And again, I know exactly what he was under contract for, right? So I come in with a full cash offer at the asking price because I knew it was a deal. And of course, we get the deal. So his loss was my gain. And I tried to tell him to just buy the property. And of course, he didn't do it. So anyway, we get this property, we take over ownership. And right out of the gate, this particular tenant that we just left, right out of the gate, she's paying late. And the old owner was apparently good with that. He was good with her paying at the end of every month. I see that a lot when we take over properties. Like, owners are just good with people paying late. So unfortunately, part of the deal was it's a little bit below market rent. And she's paying by the end of the month every month. And we're collecting a late fee. Now, apparently the previous landlord wasn't collecting that late fee. He was giving her too much grace. But we're like, you know what? At least if we're collecting a late fee every month, we're getting paid once a month, we're getting more income, let's do it, right? So she was paying late. And actually, about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, something changed. I don't know what it was. I guess she got tired of paying late fees. All of a sudden, out of the blue, she's paying on time like clockwork. And it went that way up until this, last month, March 1st. March 1st hit, and unfortunately, this woman who has a rent amount of $715 per month only came up with $100. Not going to be good. Now, she had previously been having issues with some of the other tenants in the building. And because of those issues, she's been upset. She hasn't really wanted to been there. She's talked about leaving multiple times, and every time she says, I'm going to be out by the end of the month, she's not out by the end of the month. I'm going to be out by the end of the month. She's not out by the end of the month. But again, we had a history with her, and knowing that, she paid late for a while and was used to that. And unfortunately, or fortunately, we gave her a little bit too much grace. And she paid her $100, and she said, I'm going to pay the balance by the 23rd. Normally, we want a bigger payment than that in order to avoid filing an eviction. They paid $100 out of $715. Not quite enough. We want to see a pretty substantial chunk, at least, if they can't pay the full rent with the balance due later in the month. We're willing to work with people that way. But because she was there so long, and and because we knew she really did want to leave, we're like, okay, we'll give her to the 23rd. And of course, the 23rd comes and we don't get the payment. So what do? Right? At this point, we've already given her too much grace. At this point, we file on the 23rd. Boom, eviction's filed. So we reach out to her and we let her know, like, hey, we had to file eviction. You said you were going to pay. You didn't. We filed eviction. And of course, my wonderful property manager, she gets 10 minutes of a berate from this person. And, again, I can understand how she's upset, right? She's been with us a long time, and she wasn't happy about it, right? At the end of the day, she wasn't happy about it, and maybe she was a little bit blindsided by it. She didn't expect us to actually follow through and file. I don't know. But she ranted for like 10 minutes, vented, got everything out. My property manager just let her talk, and she hung up. Okay, interesting. So that being said, she still said, I'm going to be out by the end of the month. I'm going to be out by the end of the month. Interestingly enough, about an hour after that phone call, she sent in another $100. Like, cool, I'll take it. Like, that's interesting. So anyway, we're like, okay, is she going to leave or is she not going to leave? Again, she's telling us she's going to be out by the end of the month. So what happened on, I believe, the 30th, 29th or 30th, a couple days ago? What does she do? She leaves, right? All her stuff's out. She drops her keys off at the office and she's out. Now, the question really becomes, all right, so now that eviction cost us about $300 for us to file with the attorney. So was that $300 wasted because we knew she wanted to leave? I don't think so, right? That probably was the catalyst, and that was probably the spark for her to leave, right? That was probably like, hey, no more, I'm going to pay soon. No more, I'm going to leave at the end of the month. Oh, maybe next month, maybe later. She knew, like, she was filed on and she had to make a decision, and she knew she wanted to leave. The decision was forced and she left. And so it's great, she's actually on her way. Now the funny thing is, the surprising piece of this is she actually left the property in better condition than most of our tenants do. She was actually there for 8 years, and this is not going to be a big turnover. I mean, I get it's a small unit, but literally it's going to be 1 or 2 days, nothing major. It's going to be a small turnover, paint, one little section of flooring needs to be, had carpet. We don't keep carpet. We're changing the carpet out, and that's it. Like, it's really a minor renovation. So we're really happy about that. She left the place in good condition. Now, here's the kicker. Again, when she moved in, the rent was low. When she moved in, she was below market rent. And as I've said in multiple videos in the past, my particular market is rent controlled. So because it's rent controlled, I can only increase it so much. So even though we increase the rent every single year for the past 8 years, right, she's still not up to market rent. Her rent was $715, right? And now that she's moving out, right, so we had to pay $300 for a filing fee. It's going to be about $2,000 for a turnover. We didn't get March's rent, so I guess if you want to count that as $725 or $715, which she pays for rent, and might take a month to get rented, although hopefully a lot less than that. That's another, $1,000, let's say. So $4,000 all in, and what am I getting in return? I'm getting a new tenant at market rent, which is closer to $425 per month more in income than I was making with her. So we're taking a $4,000 hit on this property to get it turned over, and we're going to be making an additional, I got to do the math, right? 425 times 12, we're going to be getting an additional $5,100 a year. So that's over 100% return on investment for that small changeover. So that being said, we're excited. We're excited to get this particular unit turned over. We're excited to have our first turnover at this particular property and our first tenant that's back up to market rent. That being said, right, sometimes the hardest calls to make in property management, it's not with the bad tenants. The bad tenants are easy. Like, you're being bad, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Follow the process and get them evicted, do what you need to do, and it's a lot easier to make those decisions. The harder call is with the tenants who have a history, that have been around for a while, and in general are pretty good tenants. They mostly do the right thing, and and a lot of times they have a legitimate reason. Those are the harder calls to make. At the end of the day, we still do our best to follow our policy the best we can. We need to file when we're supposed to file. We normally, rents due at the 1st. On the 6th, if we haven't received it yet, they get a late fee. If they haven't made a substantial payment by the 10th, on the 11th, we should be filing. And obviously, depending on when it falls, we should be filing. Now, so it was a little bit of a gray area. She made a payment, but was it a significant payment? $100 out of $715? Probably not. But because she always came through in the past for the last 8 years, we gave her a little bit extra grace. We gave her until the 23rd. And when she did not meet that commitment, we had to put it out there. We had to have that line in the sand. And when she didn't make that commitment, we had to file, right? We needed to file. And that is what, I believe, precipitated this whole thing to get her moved along and into her new place. And she probably wanted to act quicker than normal, because now she potentially has an eviction that would show up on her record when going to rent another place. So it probably helped as well to get her to move along quickly because of that. So all that being said, so even with the relationship when you have with a tenant, clarity is important. They need to be clear on what you're going to be doing, and it needs to be clear on what you're asking for and what's going on, because clarity just makes it better for all parties involved. And also, you know what? I got a quick question for you. For you, right? Did you go and grab my property walkthrough checklist? It's actually free on my website, chatwithchatto.com. And while you're there, right, you can also actually book a chat with Chatto. If you want to talk to me and have a quick consultation, I'd love to talk to you, see if there's anything I can help you do. Maybe we can discuss some of the joys of landlording. But yeah, like I said, I'm here to help. I'm here as a resource. I'm here to hopefully provide value. I mean, we're almost 12 minutes into this video. 12 minutes in, if you're still watching it, maybe it was of value to you. I hope it was of value to you. And I appreciate your hanging out this long. If you could do me a favor, like and subscribe, right? That helps the algorithm, blah, blah, blah. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Chat with Chatto.